Bradshaw. I hope I haven't kept you waiting.
What? No, sir. Oh. I think you know why I've come, sir.
I do know why you've come, Bradshaw. You've come because I summoned you.
That is exactly the reason, sir.
And I think that you, Bradshaw, know why I've summoned you.
Oh, I do indeed, sir.
Would it tax your powers of expression, Bradshaw, to state succinctly why I summoned you?
I probably would, sir, yes.
Attempt it, Bradshaw.
Well, it'll be muddy, sir.
Doubtless, Bradshaw. I will endeavour by poking about among the murky current of your faltering utterances to extract some small nugget of sense.
Well, I think you have summoned me because you are
dissatisfied.
Oh, that is the very word, sir, yes, sir. You have summoned me because you feel that way about my work, sir.
You are a poor student, Bradshaw.
Oh, I am no scholar, sir. No, that's true.
You never seem to learn anything.
My main trouble is with facts, sir. I don't seem to be able to obtain enough of them.
What do you do with your facts, Bradshaw?
Oh, I keep them in a tobacco tin by my bedside, sir. That way I can tell if anybody tampers with them. I should hate to lose any of them, sir.
I'm afraid I have a painful duty to perform, Bradshaw. I have to tell you that you haven't the brain of a syphilitic duck, and that if you're not out of this college by dawn, I'll club you to death with my Aristotle.
Oh, that would be painful, sir. I've seen your Aristotle. It's a very hard object.
I'm afraid there's no place for you in our society, Bradshaw. You're a precocious failure.
Oh, you'll be relieved to know, sir, that I have great powers of resignation. It's my peasant ancestry. I shall till the sod.
That's it. Bash the land.
Hey, Bob, where the hell is Julia?
The Green Man demolishing gin.
Hell, time's getting short.
But ours, yeah?
Well, don't you want the champagne?
Oh, yes, I do. I do want the champagne. I want that very badly.
I like champagne.
Where is the champagne?
Julia's bringing it.
Oh, you said that you'd ordered it.
I did. I ordered it at Cutler's. I asked Julia to collect it and bring it on up here.
Julia may want some.
No, she will. You needn't worry lest Julia's reticence, her mere polite sipping, will embarrass us.
Up to this moment, I had not realized that Julia would be amongst us.
You hadn't what?
I didn't know you'd invited Julia.
Well, how can we have a farewell party without Julia?
By excluding Julia.
Yes, but... Well, naturally, when you suggested a celebration, a drop of champagne, a spot of nostalgia, I thought of the three of us. We've been very close.
If you have three objects in a row, the one in the middle is close to the ones on either side.
But, Bob, why didn't you ever?
Because I'm keeping myself for Gloria. Gloria is more glorious than Julia.
Gloria is... Yeah, let's have a look at that photo again. Oh, yes. Very dainty. Yeah, but damn it. Listen, do you do it with Gloria?
Oh, we do it a lot, yes. As soon as I arrive in the village, she packs up a little bag and comes over to my place. Sometimes we don't emerge for days.
You know, Julia likes you. She wouldn't have minded. I wouldn't have minded.
Nope, it belongs to Gloria.
You don't mind? I mean, you don't seriously mind that I invited Julia?
Carruthers?
Hmm? Oh, yes, Bradshaw.
They're not worthy, Carruthers. They're not truly worthy.
Not fit companions.
A mere handful, perhaps. Obviously, one must exclude Sappho.
Adds up to a negligible contribution.
Purely nest makers at heart.
No conception of the larger centrifugal drives.
A tiresome necessity. We should thank God, Carruthers, for our relative emancipation.
Care to dance?
Oh, darling, this isn't the sort of place.
Here, I'm going to phone Julia.
Over the years, I've come to a definite conclusion about Julia. She's horrible.
Well, she is a trifle horrible. Wait till I phone.
Wait till I finish. Julia is... Well, the point about Julia...
Well, what about Julia?
I don't like Julia.
Oh, she's been very good to you.
Oh, when did that happen?
Well, didn't she once sew on a button or iron a shirt or something for you?
No, she never did. I can, however, remember one incident. About the beginning of the autumn term last year. You were away basking in life for a few days, and I had contracted something very like bilateral lobar pneumonia. Julia called, and she was very solicitous. I informed her that a few minutes before her arrival, I'd taken my temperature, and that the mercury had shot out of the tube and drilled a neat hole in the wall, and she seemed very concerned. She went next door and borrowed an aspirin for me.
Oh, that was very nice of Julia.
As an act of a Samaritan.
She brought you healing medicaments.
One aspirin.
Only one?
That's all the people next door had.
Well, she could have popped down to the chemist and bought some.
As that very thought had flashed through my delirium.
Why didn't she?
It seemed she had an important engagement with a man. I think she said a green man. And she asked me to phone her if I felt any worse.
That was thoughtful of her.
Just a pity we didn't have a telephone in those days.
Well, did Julia realise that?
Well, I mentioned it to her. And she said with intense feeling, "Oh, hell, aren't they bloody?"
I suppose Julia is a trifle horrible.
Well, I just wanted to say, Carruthers.
Yes, Bertram.
I feel a bit bashful saying this straight out.
I think I can guess.
It's just that our relationship has meant a great deal to me.
It has for both of us been truly ennobling.
A rich experience.
Something above the commonplace.
Well, I just wanted you to know, Carruthers.
You're a man of rare discrimination, Bradshaw. It's a unique privilege to have known you, to have
You probed the delicacy of my feelings.
sampled the rich store of your mind.
And paddled in the pools of my probity.
Yeah, where the hell is Julia? And that champagne.
Try the green man.
Hello? No. I wondered if you could call Mrs. Desmond for me, please. Mrs. Julia Desmond. She doesn't think she's there.
She must be new.
Julia uses other pubs. Hello? Julia! I thought you were coming over here. No, Julia. No, Julia. I'm leaving tonight for good. In about 2 hours. No, that wasn't me. That was Bob. Why do you get everything wrong? Bob's staying here throughout the summer to conduct some sadistic experiments. I don't do experiments. I'm not a scientist. He is. What? Oh, he tortures Maze. The details are ghastly. I'm leaving tonight. No, next week I'll be in America or Hong Kong or somewhere pretty remote. I told you, I'm incomparably the most brilliant economist of my time, and therefore everyone wants me. Well, now just finish your gin. Oh, the champagne. Did you collect the champagne? From Cutler's, you remember. Yeah. Well, you shouldn't be very long then. Goodbye, Julia. I say, Bob, do you want Julia?
Oh, gee, yeah. Can I have her?
I mean, now that I'm leaving, I'd like to hand her over to someone.
Oh, that's really big of you, Carruthers. I shan't forget that in a hurry. Is there ever anything I can do for you? I mean, do you want to borrow $1 million? Do you want to be president? I think my pa can swing it. He owns half Texas.
No, seriously. What about Julia?
Seriously, I don't think so.
Oh, why not?
Well, she sounds too perverted to me. I'm not used to girls as perverted as Julie.
But Julia isn't perverted.
I'll never forget the story of the night you first met Julia.
The night I first met Julia, she was drinking gin in the Green Man with 2 grocers.
Mr. Carruthers, you have told the court how you first encountered this lady. May I just refresh your memory? When you first heard rumors of this unholy woman, you made inquiries. These led you to a certain ramshackle house standing in deserted grounds. The door creaked open at your touch. Kindly tell the court what met your eyes.
A silent, obscene circle.
How did you react to the spectacle?
I wished I'd bought a bottle.
You did not shudder with horror at the sight of the skulls and the sheep's hearts pierced with holly, and the blasphemous treatment of God's word?
I did not. For me, scripture is scripture, whether it's read forwards or backwards.
Kindly tell the court what was taking place.
People drinking wine.
Just that.
Out of navels.
I submit, Mr. Carruthers, that you're withholding certain facts. According to the testimony of earlier witnesses, in the dim glow of the candles, which were blasphemously disposed in the shape of an inverted cross, a human form writhed beneath the brutally upraised arm of a woman.
What's the implication of that? Flage?
Yeah, Fladge.
Julia does not go in for Flage.
You've misled me. I understood that Julia was practically a graduate course in sexology.
Julia, and I never claimed more, is simply a warm and full-blooded woman. Well, honestly, I worry about you. You don't seem, well...
Avid for experience.
Precisely. I mean, I don't know about your girl.
Gloria.
Ah, yes. Well, now, Gloria, as is strikingly evident from that photograph of yours, is a most lovely and radiant girl. It must be a virtual ecstasy to receive her. To receive her tenderly into your arms. To...
Just so.
Yes, but she's not experienced.
That is the whole delightful point.
The man. It's his duty to gain experience. Now, Julia.
Jake, why don't you just go?
Go? Where?
Oh, to New York or Hong Kong or wherever your brilliance guides you.
It's just that I have a great affection for you both. There's a great deal you can contribute to each other's life.
Yes, but it's just that you're forgetting something.
What?
Well, Julia, she'll be desolate. I mean, I'm only staying for the summer, as you know, and that's hardly time enough for her to have recovered from her grief at losing you.
I know, but that's the beauty of Julia. She doesn't miss people. Now, let me put in a good word for you.
As I summarize the situation, you are proposing, as a final act of comradeship, to saddle me with a drunken old whore who will leave me penniless. My gain? A profound insight into the whole gamut of human sexual delinquency, Dr. Carruthers.
She's...
Dr. Carruthers, can you give me a little advice?
Well, what is it, Dr. Bradshaw?
Ah, a little advice. One of my cases is so complex, the psyche. Dr. Carruthers, I believe you are an expert in fetishism?
Fetishism, yeah. What a wonderful subject.
Well, what would you say to a person who gets total sexual satisfaction exclusively from stroking a tin of Heinz baked beans?
Heinz baked beans?
Yeah.
The big tin or the little one?
Oh, the big family-sized one.
Need sausages?
Well, that's what's so strange. It not matter if there's sausages or not.
With tomato sauce?
Yeah, naturally.
Ah, for a little I was worried. Never have I heard of a bean fetishism, but tomato sauce is one of the most common.
Oh, danke, Herr Professor, danke.
Here, it's getting bloody late. Where the hell is Julia?
Having another gin.
You think Julia's in the Green Man?
Yes, I think she probably is.
I think you ought to phone the Green Man.
You think I ought to phone the Green Man?
Yes.
Not you?
No, you.
Jake, have you ever considered that if my hybrid maize is a success, it will be able to provide nutritious fodder for pigs and cattle on many millions of tropical acres, which are at present totally barren?
Has that got the remotest connection with phoning Julia?
Jake, I don't think you've ever fully grasped that it is because of the revolutionary nature of my plant genetic experiments that the Ministry of Agriculture have awarded me a special supplementary grant to complete them. Have you ever fully grasped that?
No, I've not ever fully grasped that.
Jake, look. I have here nearly a pocketful of maize, of the variety commonly used as fodder for livestock in West and East Africa, parts of India, some of the Far East, as well as South America, and to a lesser extent, Southern Europe. Now, listen to this. I am reasonably... Oh, come on, Jake, are you listening? I am reasonably convinced that I can grow a variety of maize which has the same nutritional properties, but only needs 1/3 of the total water requirements. What do you think of that?
A big deal for pigs. I still fail to see its connection with phoning Julia.
I just thought it'd be a pity if you left without knowing something about my work.
I do know something about your work.
Well, yes, because I've just told you.
I knew before.
Very little. Very little indeed. You're a self-absorbed man. However, to revert to Julia, I I've no desire to be pinned to her as a sort of medallion to remind her of you.
So that's what's bothering you?
That's it. That's what's bothering me.
Well, what's bothering you?
Your egotism, that's what's bothering me.
What egotism?
What egotism? I shall miss you, Carruthers. I shall miss you, I really will, but I shall be all right. I shall complete my experiments, and then do you know what I shall do? I shall court Gloria. I shall court Gloria in a very slow, very dignified, British manner, which will probably end in wedlock. And that is why next time I see Gloria, I don't want to have to confess to her that I have been fornicating with one of the most depraved old whores in southern England.
That's a viciously inaccurate way of describing Julia.
Well, yes, it may be. I'd have no particular desire to denigrate the lady. I just want to impress on you, Jake, the desirability for not treating people as toys.
You seem to think it would profit me in some way if you would have an affair with Julia.
Yes, I think it would. That's the way you're constructed.
How would it profit me?
Well, there's such a thing as psychological profit, you know. The gratification of power drives. I mean, some people get a big kick out of manipulating others.
I never manipulate anyone.
I would say that you do.
But who?
Well, not only me, I think you manipulate a lot of people. Not crudely, of course, but by persuasion, by natural authority, or jocular suggestion.
I think you may be right.
Oh, our game.
Our game?
Well, I like it, I love playing it, but for me it's just a diversion, whereas for you...
Well?
Well, think, I mean, who is it usually... Well, not always, of course, but who is it usually is in the star parts? I mean, who's usually the general, or the tycoon, or the surgeon?
But you mean... You seriously mean... You made me self-critical. I've never been self-critical before. I can see that now it was my particular strength. Oh, God, don't let me be self-critical. Keep me, O Lord, from feeling guilt.
Father Carruthers.
Yes, Father Bradshaw.
That was a very moving little prayer. I wonder if you'd be teaching it to me.
Not at all, Father Bradshaw. Just repeat. No, I'm self-conscious.
Now, Father Carruthers, you wouldn't be denying me a little hand up the ladder to paradise, would you? Candidly, I was never a man to compose neat prayers, and I would consider it a great kindness.
No, it's useless. I'm self-conscious.
Oh, no, Father Carruthers, it's just this matter of prayers. I mean, you wouldn't be thinking that the Almighty would be penalising a poor lad who had no great talent for it, would you?
God, Father Bradshaw, the Almighty wouldn't be wasting his time with the likes of you. No, it just seems silly. I'm going to phone Julia. Was it you I was talking to? Oh, could you once more call Mrs. Desmond for me, please? Mrs. Really? She's left? Oh, no, in that case, that's splendid. Yes, well, thank you to... Yeah, goodbye. Julia has left the Green Man.
Julia doesn't appear to be conspicuously punctual.
She shouldn't be long now.
No, it's only about 10 minutes from the Green Man as the drunk reels. You better hurry up, though, otherwise we won't have time to drink that champagne. And we shall have to smash it across your bows to launch you into the world. What makes you think that Julia likes me?
Did I say she liked you?
Well, you implied it.
When did I imply it?
Well, just now, if you remember, you were urging me to take possession once you'd vacated the premises.
I don't remember saying Julia liked you.
Well, you said you wouldn't have minded. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit naive, but I assumed that...
Well, yes, I did. No more than that I assumed that Julia is not unapproachable, and that my warm commendation should carry some weight with her.
Ah, your warm commendation.
My fraternal advocacy.
You mean a word in Julia's ear and she'd be gracing my sack?
Anyway, you're not interested.
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps I'm not sufficiently avid for experience. Tell me, Jake, how long was it after you first met Julia that you had her?
4 hours.
Oh, a real trial of devotion. Was it worth it?
That first night was not, as a matter of fact, strikingly successful. I put the blame squarely on a particularly virulent rum which Julia was drinking, in which to engender a sense of intimacy I also imbibed in vast quantities.
What happened?
I fear very little, but the next night...
Ah, the next night.
That was the night.
What happened that night?
Well, what do you think happened?
What happened?
Well, sex happened.
Oh, sex happened. Ah, yes. Now, let me see. Ah, here we are. Yes. The state or condition of an organism which comes to expression in the production of ova, as in the female, or of sperm cells, as in the male, or of both ova and sperm cells, as in certain hermaphroditic invertebrates. That's what happened?
I'll tell you something. It was my first time.
Sheath. An envelope. A covering.
My first time without paying, that is.
A reaction, a response to stimulus.
Naturally, I'd been with street girls before, but it's not the same. They just want to get it over. It's like going to Wheeler's for a nosh-up and having the head waiter grab you at the door and cram caviar down your throat.
Quadripara. A woman who is bearing or has borne her 4th child.
How did you know?
No?
About Julia.
What, do you mean that Julia is a quadripara?
She had 2 children out of wedlock and 2 inside it.
Pyrolysis. The decomposition of organic substance by heat.
She behaved very badly. She'd do things like, well, like going drinking and leaving her kids on their own. Or inviting different men back to the house. And yet this is incredible, the human mind. Do you know what Julia once said to me?
What?
Well, you should know that Julia's ex-husband has a mistress. A quiet, domesticated lady. In all but name, the perfect wife. And yet Julia once said to me with authentic indignation, "My poor kids don't stand a chance." And why? Because when they grew up, they would learn of the unsanctified relationship between their father and his mistress.
Methylamine. A colourless gas formed during the putrefaction of fish.
What is that stupid book?
Medical dictionary, best reading I know. Hey, Jake! We might just have time.
Time? Time for what?
Before Julia, in all her phosphorescent splendour, is upon us. Father Carruthers. Oh, no, wait a minute. I have a more subtle approach. Ah, Your Grace, I have a confession to make. Oh, come on, Jake, try.
Well, what is it, Father Bradshaw?
Ah, Your Grace, I have a little problem.
Have you? Really? And what would the likes of you be doing with a problem now, Father Bradshaw?
Oh, I know it is presumptuous of me, Your Grace.
It's a thundering outrage in the sight of heaven, Father Bradshaw. Just be leaving problems to your betters, won't you?
Oh, I would dearly like to, Your Grace, but I think it would jeopardise my hope of paradise, Your Grace.
And what hope could that be, Father Bradshaw? And who gave you leave to talk like a bishop now? I say, Bob, it's working.
Oh, no, yeah. Your Grace, can you help me with my prayers?
There's only one prayer that need concern the likes of you, Father Bradshaw.
Oh, I would dearly like to know what that is, Your Grace.
The hat, Father Bradshaw. For an honest Irish bishop who'll see that your prayer is rewarded with a fat diocese of your own, once I'm snug in the sacred college. On your knees, Father Bradshaw, and repeat after me. God, elevate my bishop.
How do you feel?
I feel fine. I say, it's not the old power lust, is it? I mean, we've exorcised that, haven't we?
I don't know. Probe your motives.
Probe my motives? Hey, what the hell?
I don't know. What the hell?
What the hell? The taxi will be here in an hour and a half. Where the hell is Julia?
Dial the Green Man.
What for?
Why, to contact the Green Woman. Julia.
Julia?
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 Julia. 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 Julia?
Julia's not at the Green Man.
Oh, isn't she?
You heard when I telephoned. She's left the Green Man.
Oh, that's right. I wonder where Julia is.
I don't understand this. I don't understand it at all.
It's puzzling, isn't it?
I mean, Julia must have realised now, even if she'd forgotten before, that I'm leaving.
You're departing.
That I'm going. I won't be back in England for years. This is our last chance. Our last chance to meet. Do you understand this?
I can't unravel it.
I mean, she's left the Green Man, so...
So?
Where is she?
Where can she be?
She's had ample time. Excessive time to collect the champagne and get here.
Well, it's a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
You know, over years... In fact, ever since that first night I met Julia in the Green Man.
Amongst the grocers?
Amongst the grocers. I've had carnal congress with her on not more than 10 or a dozen occasions. Nevertheless, over the years, a fairly substantial bond of sympathy has
Sprung up?
sprung up. How can a bond spring up?
Oh, been forged?
Has developed, you understand. Now, I sensed this, but because of the casual and informal nature of our association, I was definitely surprised when on the last of the more intimate sessions between us, which occurred, as a matter of fact, 3 days, or rather 3 nights ago, Julia made a scene.
What did you say?
I can't remember exactly. Something like, oh, by the way, Petty, I'm leaving in a few days.
Julia failed to sustain the relaxed atmosphere?
She made a rather impressive scene. I was staggered, and yet in a funny way.
Well?
Although it had been unsuspecting, I wasn't all that surprised. And why do you think that was?
Perhaps you still retain some shreds of human decency?
She pointed out she was no longer young. She said she'd come to depend on our relationship. She said I owed her things.
What things?
Well, I don't know exactly. She wasn't all that clear. I mean, she was full of gin at the time, which is why I didn't take her all that seriously. I suppose she must have meant abstract things. Anyway, it was very distressing.
Oh, it's unforgivable.
What's unforgivable?
Oh, it's unforgivable that people should make us feel these awful guilt feelings just because we exploit them.
What do you mean, exploit?
I mean, using someone, anyone, as a convenience, sexual or otherwise.
Julia?
Julia.
Julia.
Julia... I can, however, think of another hunk of exploitation, or at least attempted exploitation.
Oh? Can you?
I can, yes, I can.
And what would that be?
Well, it goes something like this. Julia doesn't miss people. You need experience, Bob. There won't be any ties. Well, it goes something like that.
That's what I told you.
Yes, it is. And what you told me wasn't the truth, was it?
No. It was not the literal truth.
Well, it wasn't any sort of terrestrial truth. Maybe it came from Mars or somewhere. Well, why did you do it?
Because I'm a liar.
Oh, you're a liar?
Yes, I'm a liar.
Oh, that's a rather alarming admission, still.
I'm a liar. I haven't got your morbid Puritan conscience. I haven't got it. All right. I was feeling a shade uneasy about leaving Julia, so I thought...
Oh, I can pick that up. You thought, old Bob is a responsible type, so load her onto him.
I thought... something like that. But I also thought perfectly genuinely what I said before. That the relationship could be of real benefit to you both. Anyway, where the hell is Julia?
Phone the Green Man.
She's left the Green Man.
Missing person. Julia Desmond, lovely, emancipated mother of 4, last seen drinking gin with a bunch of perverted grocers in the Green Man Tavern. I'm afraid there are no clues, Inspector Carruthers.
Not a single clue, Sergeant Bradshaw?
I'm afraid not. It's the most clueless case I can remember.
She must be somewhere.
Oh, it's a privilege to work with you, Inspector. I mean, the way you peer straight to the heart of a problem.
She won't take a 10-minute walk to say goodbye. Isn't it baffling?
Oh, what can you expect in a bourgeois culture?
She makes little ceramic ornaments.
What?
Julia. She makes little ceramic ornaments.
Really?
She makes them up in a room and then gets them fired down at the craft centre. They've 2 kilns down there.
Have they? 2 kilns? And what does Julia do with these ornaments after they've been fired?
Well, she gives them away, mostly. She may sell one to one of the gift shops. They're not very good, really.
Still. Shows enterprise.
They just look like, well, like raw little bits of terracotta with a spot of colour on them. Just what they are, really. I'm afraid Julia hasn't any more than a rudimentary aesthetic sense.
Tell me, why does Julia occupy her time in this strenuous way? It must use up time that could be spent guzzling in the Green Man.
Oh, she was an art student once. Julia's human, you know.
You're in love with her.
What?
You're in love with Julia.
It's a horrid possibility.
Ah, you're a real bastard.
You think so?
I credit you nothing more atrocious than towering egotism and monstrous selfishness, and you're a fully paid up, double-distilled bastard.
You seem unnecessarily bitter.
Bitter? Why should I be bitter?
I can see no adequate reason why you should be bitter.
Well, I certainly can't.
I mean, you're all right, aren't you? You've got your fiancée. You've got your maze.
Yes. That's right. I really have a very cozy little number.
Now, tell me something. Are you in love with Gloria?
Naturally.
Well, that's perfect, isn't it? You should pity, not rebuff my swanishness. Well, what's it like being in love?
Oh, it's marvellous.
Does it make everything glow with a pink glow?
That's right. Pink glow.
Oh, isn't that nice? Unfortunately, Julia doesn't make things pink for me. Now, if you'd be so kind, just shine Gloria in this direction once more. The photo. Oh, yes, you see. Gloria has that brand new, untouched by human hand look. Julia hasn't got that look. I realize, of course, one needs a wife.
Needs one?
Needs one. To complement things.
Oh, you mean for your career?
No, for one's life.
Or 4-liter sportsmobile? Oh, Jake. Is that really how you see the world?
Yes, of course. I see it as an adventure. Cars and bars and glossy girls in tiny trunks. What's wrong with that?
Seems a little thin in ideals.
Who wants ideals?
Oh, you mean when you can live for kicks?
It doesn't only have to be for kicks.
Well, what else do you believe in?
The Messiah.
What?
I believe in the Messiah.
You believe in the Messiah? What Messiah?
The one we are all waiting for. The one who is indispensable. I believe that one day he will come for us and lead us by the hand into the lost garden. And when that day comes, I hope I shall be the first to recognize and exalt him. In the meantime, we need that champagne.
Jake, you...
Yes, we need that champagne. And since it's becoming humiliatingly clear that Julia, rot her disloyal bones, will not voluntarily budge, I must to the Green Man to pry her loose. You. Boy. Bradshaw.
Yes, boss, Carruthers.
What do I feed you for, boy?
Why, boss?
Don't I feed you so you'll keep the homestead tidy?
That's right, boss.
Then why is it always such a shit heap? Answer me that.
Why, sorry, boss.
Now, I'm bringing a lady back here, you understand? Don't wink at me, you rascal. And keep away from the keyhole this time. Now, if you want me to keep you, and you're such an idle dog, I don't see why I should. Just pitch in and smooth up the compound a bit. Come on. Jump!
What?
That's it. Stack all those scientific papers to corn laws there. Stack them neatly. Sweep, dust, and lick out all the crystal goblets. I want to see this place sparkling when I get back. Now sweat, you hound. Sweat! Here we are at last. Drop of the old widow. One each.
I've got something for you.
Ah, the parting gift. I've been expecting this. Champagne!
What?
The champagne. Now, what costly trifle have you bought me, my old comrade in squalor?
I haven't bought you anything. Look, if you're still going to Hong Kong...
Oh, that is by no means settled.
Well, it doesn't matter anywhere it'd be useful, but Hong Kong would be ideal because of the climate. Take this and keep it safe.
Uncut diamonds.
Maize.
Maize?
Yes, my own blend, you might call it. Plant it somewhere in Hong Kong.
Do what?
Plant the maize somewhere.
Say in my bedroom.
Somewhere, naturally, where it is open to the sun and such rainfall as you get.
Champagne! Champagne!
I'll give you full instructions.
Look, it's a very high honour for me to participate in these exciting experiments of yours, but I'll have no time for hoeing and harrowing
Just
and...
plant it, that's all, then you can forget about it till it's time to photograph it.
Photograph it?
Look, just keep the seed safe, and I'll give you full instructions when I know where you are.
Champagne! Ice cold champagne!
Open it, don't keep shouting about it.
I will, just as soon as I've lured Julia from her ablutions, or whatever she's doing in there. The party can then begin.
Julia?
Julia? She's in the bathroom, isn't she?
No, at least I didn't see her 3 minutes ago, and I relieved myself.
Well, where is she?
I've no idea.
You mean she hasn't been here?
Not unless you shot in and out while I was having a slash.
But I left her 5 minutes ago, walking. Steadily, firmly, purposefully towards this house. I could see the house, I could see Julia. She must have reached it.
Well, she probably did. You probably lurched on past in an alcoholic stupor.
Hell, I should have stayed with her.
May I ask why you didn't?
Oh, I didn't see any point in us both making a detour to Cutler, so I suggested she walk on here.
Oh, you suggested that she walk on here?
That's right.
And why should you make such a suggestion?
Well, no special reason, just
Are you still plotting?
plotting.
Are you still trying to hurl us together?
Oh, naturally, I never give up.
Well, you. Monsieur le Comte, choisissez your weapon.
It is immaterial to a marksman, Marquis Bradshaw.
12 paces, then turn and fire at will. Comprenez-vous?
Marquis, this is hardly my first encounter.
Solo.
Solo,
Solo.
solo. Let us commence.
Oui. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Hell with Julia. Why should I go back to the Green Man? A girlfriend? It's like having an affair with a flea. She keeps hopping. How's your Coke?
A real flavour thrill.
She loves me not. She loves me. She alternates like a bloody current. What's the word? Mercurial. Less than an hour to go. Well, if she doesn't want to say goodbye. You know what Julia is?
Mercurial.
That's it, just like mercury. Sliding and slipping, and when you put your finger on her, she breaks up into little globules and slithers away. The hell with her.
To hell with her.
Hell with Julia.
To hell with you.
Hell with me.
To hell with us.
Hell with everyone. Isn't she a bitch?
Well, she is your girl.
Yeah, but you must admit she's a bitch. My last evening. Not even a toast. I want to toast someone.
Toast Gregor Johann Mendel.
No, a girl. I toast a girl on my last evening. I know Gloria. Come on, let's toast Gloria.
Right, let's toast Gloria.
The photograph.
The photograph. Oh, no, wait. No, you can't have the photograph.
Why not?
Well, Gloria doesn't want to come out just yet.
Certainly she does. Just ask her.
Gloria? Do you want to come out? No, she can't. She can't. She's dressing.
Dressing? Now, how long will she be?
Oh, it'll be another quarter of an hour yet.
Couldn't she just throw on a robe and pop out for a toast? Well, let me speak to her.
No.
Just one word. I'll keep my eyes covered.
Well, Gloria is not used to your bordello manners. You'll frighten her. She'll never come out. A little respect for a lady's toilet.
Well, tell her to hurry up. Bob, tell me in one word, without reflection, what do you think of Julia?
I think Julia's green.
Green. That's very good. Green's very good.
Green like decay.
Or decay? What do you mean, like decay?
Well, it's like her way with children. You told me about that, how she slopes off boozing, leaves the kids. It's the main thing I don't like.
Well, Julia has her faults.
Oh, yes, that's my view. I think Julia has faults. Bloody great fissures down which mountaineers tumble.
Oh, great. Freud would have danced a jig if he'd heard that one. Do you want the faggots lit, Father Inquisitor?
Oh, the spheres are turning. The planets are spinning, and we keep rolling along. The spheres make no music because music cannot be made in a vacuum. So the Pythagoreans were wrong, but soon we will know everything.
Perhaps there's one green sphere. It could derive its colour from the sprouting maize.
Gregor Johann Mendel, he was a useful man.
But the colour of the young maize is also the colour of the scum on filthy ponds.
I, too, hope one day to be a useful man.
When you said green, Julia, I personally thought of the meadows and forests, which are generous like Julia, which expect no kindness like Julia, which are both lovely and harsh like Julia. I agree, it's not good to leave babies to cry, but it is good to make a fuss of people whom others shun, perhaps because they're black or poor or vulgar.
Is that how Julia goes on?
That is how she does things.
Making a fuss of poor black vulgarians.
She has no social inhibition. She's spontaneous.
Natural.
Open.
Candid. She has a warm, ingenuous nature.
People like her. People miss her. No one regrets having known her.
People don't get much of a chance to know her. I wonder where she did get to this time.
I think I can guess. She's probably comforting someone.
Some orphan.
Exactly. Some orphan. After I left her, she'd probably met an orphan who looked at her pitiably.
And addressed her pathetically with these words. Beautiful lady, do you come from heaven? And Julia replied.
With a silvery tinkle.
You mean she dropped a bottle?
And with a silvery tinkle which expressed the authentic note of sanctity. I fear not, little child. I am of this earth.
Earthy.
But let me be an angel to you, little child.
Whatever happened to all the angels?
Angels?
England used to be stiff with them. Every woman was an angel of some kind, a ministering angel or a guardian angel, or at the very least a fallen angel. Where did they all go to? I want an angel.
They've all taken flight. It's a sad thing, but they've all gone to another place.
Where have they all gone to?
They've all gone into the most desolate and remote of all retreats, into history. Anyway, I thought you had an angel. Gloria. Gloria, the little stripper in your pocket, isn't she an angel? Actually, it was that last flight of Victorian angels that herded our menfolk into the trenches. I prefer Julia. Answer it.
Oh, no, this is your party.
Now, Bob.
Oh, come on.
Hello? Julia. Now, where? What? Who? I don't believe you. I do not. Well, what does he allegedly... Oh, high drama, big events. I would very much like to see you again. Yes, I'll give you the benefit of the preposterous doubt. Yes, all right. Goodbye, Julia. No, wait. Hello? Julia? Julia. Well, I suppose it might be true.
What might be true?
Well, now, this is it. This is the tale in its current stage of development. After I'd turned off at Cutler's... Is this conceivable? Anyway, after I'd turned off at Cutler's, Julia, as arranged, carried on up here. She'd covered about a third of the distance, a mere 30 or 40 yards, when a car drew up beside her. Julia quickened her pace, only to be arrested by the sound of a familiar voice calling her name. Her husband.
Oh, her husband?
Her husband, who should have been in London with his mistress and kids. He requested, perhaps he commanded Julia to get in beside him. When she'd done so, they drove away.
Strange that he should be cruising down our street.
And he was allegedly on his way to Julia's. It was pure chance, not utterly incredible in a town this size, that they happened to meet.
What did he want with Julia?
Well, he'd apparently set out from London on a sudden and I'd say psychologically plausible impulse in order to tell Julia, and it is this which elevates the story to the level of a woman's magazine, in order to tell Julia that the devoted mistress passed away 2 months ago from acute renal toxemia. Julia actually said that. Acute renal toxemia. Is there such a thing?
Indeed, yes. It's very nasty.
Yeah, well, anyway, the husband had come to tell Julia of this melancholy event and beg her to return to him.
Does she propose to?
What?
Does Julia propose to return to her husband?
No, not a chance. She won't go back to him. There's one more bottle left.
Bottle?
Of champagne.
That is Julia's bottle.
We'd better imbibe it,
Why is that?
because I have no more of my own. Here we are. Bob, how does it go with Gloria?
How does what go with Gloria?
How does it go when you're together? Does it go well?
It goes fine, yes. It goes fine.
And Bob, tell me about it.
What?
Tell me about it.
How do you mean?
How it goes with Gloria.
I couldn't do that.
Why not?
It's an improper suggestion.
I need consoling. Bob, I've no one. Share Gloria with me.
That is a monstrous suggestion.
Do you do it indoors for preference?
You're just a voyeur. Just a foul, verbal voyeur.
Tell me about one time, just one. What colour undies she had on, what she liked doing best. All the filthy details.
You're a very gross fellow to expect me to, well, tell you about that time I walked home from the dance. You don't seriously expect me to tell you what happened that night on our way home from the dance?
Was it a good dance?
It was an excellent dance. It was a special dance. It was given by a thin, jovial lady who breeds horses. She provided lavishly, including an outdoor dance floor which had been erected at incredible expense just for the one occasion.
And what time did you leave that dance?
We left by mutual arrangement, early. It was a lovely evening, warm, soft, perfumed by the hot grasses. It was Arcadian.
And you left early? I suppose you wanted to walk across the field.
That's it. That's exactly what we decided. There's a path about 3 miles long. It runs through a dale by a stream. It was light enough to see, so we set off, and we had gone about 1 mile in relative silence when Gloria suddenly stopped and went, "Ooh."
Just what were you at?
I was at that moment some paces behind Gloria, as the path was somewhat narrow and rocky at that stage. But Gloria suddenly stopped and went, "Ooh."
What had prompted this exclamation?
Gloria had seen a fish. She had seen a fish jump. She said it was a large fish and that she had clearly seen the flash of its silvery scales as it tipped itself above the rushing waters.
I bet you waited to see if that big fish would jump again.
Oh, we did. We both felt a profound impulse to watch and see if that fish would spring again out of the stream. We were, in fact, prepared to wait quite a long time. So to beguile the vigil, we sat down in the warm grass beside the brook. It was a very mild evening, but so concerned was I lest Gloria be exposed to the least ripple of air that I put my arm over her shoulder. She naturally nestled against me, and in that harmonious posture we scanned the surface of the boiling rill. Very slowly, I lowered my head.
Where is that photograph?
Oh, don't interrupt.
Just tell me where that photograph is.
Here against my heart?
The one of Gloria.
Certainly.
Then who is this damsel?
Oh, isn't she sweet? That's Elaine.
It looks uncommonly like Gloria.
Oh, no, actually, it's Susie. It was all over between Susie and me years ago.
This is the photograph of Gloria you showed me earlier.
That is Selma. Now, she's a farmer's daughter. If you'd rather hear about Selma...
This is Gloria.
No, Jane. No, actually, it's Louisa. No, it's a likeness of Mary.
You threw it away.
Well, I hate to accumulate rubble, stubble, debris.
Well, who is it?
I'll tell you about that picture. That is a likeness, I don't know whether it is a good likeness, of a young woman called Carboy. I believe her full name is Molly Carboy. Molly has a jovial, intelligent mother, a thin woman who breeds horses. I like and admire Mrs. Carboy. We have often discussed problems of genetics.
And what about Molly? What's she like?
I have never met Molly. She is married and lives in another part of the land.
Yet you carry her photograph around and call it Gloria. Why?
Because I like the name Gloria. It evokes for me stars and monotheistic religions, two of my favorite things. And when I first had occasion to christen my wholly imaginary fiancée, I spontaneously thought of the name Gloria.
How did you acquire the photograph of Molly Carboy in the first place?
By chance. I was talking to Mrs. Carboy, the mother, as we watched horses coupling. And as people do, she showed me her photograph. At that moment, she was called away urgently by one of the stable hands, and soon afterwards, I too was summoned to assist in pacifying a nervous mare. Without thinking, I put the picture into my pocket, and I never thought about it again until that time that you came across it and asked me who it was. Do you remember?
I do remember. Your shy, proud confession on that occasion.
I have talent, Carruthers. You must admit I have talent.
Oh, you have a rare talent, Bradshaw. But you do not have something which you've always claimed that you do have, which I've always credited you with having.
What is that?
You do not have an impregnable veracity. You do not have an undeviating respect for the truth.
Our game?
Our game is no analog. Our game is a mutual and mutually agreed upon exercise of the imagination. It deceives no one. It is not a lie. Gloria is a lie.
Gloria is very practical.
I wonder if you're sick.
Gloria is very practical when it comes to people, other people, people like you, who say, Bob, we don't see you chasing the girls.
I think you must be sick. I think you cannot bear reality.
Well, there is a part of reality which I can bear very well. There is another part which I have difficulty with.
What are these two parts? What is the breakdown?
Well, the first is the world of extra-human phenomena where there are laws that govern the behavior of things. Laws which can be ascertained and utilized. The other
Is the human world.
where contradiction prevails.
Contradiction?
Doesn't your mind ever rebel? I mean, against things, for instance, like, well, thousands of people starving in one place, and only 2 hours away by freight plane, there are other human beings who are burning food which they haven't room to store.
Well, there are undoubtedly abuses.
I mean, one's own mind. Do you imagine that's going to be immune from the muddle, the ambiguity, the doubting one's own thoughts, one's motives? I mean, how could one dare to...
How would one dare to commit oneself? To commit oneself, say, to a girlfriend? I tell you something, Cromwell. I think it would be a good thing if you were never in a position to wield power.
I am a quiet man, a scientist, like my master, Gregor Johann Mendel. Quiet man, a monk pottering about with his pea vines. I, too, hope one day to be a useful man.
What will you do? I mean, Gloria and the kids are expunged from the syllabus. What will you do?
Something useful? Plants? I have no desire to wield power.
Well, still, if it ever happened.
Oh, if I was made dictator of the earth.
You would initiate reforms.
Drastic ones.
You would be dissatisfied with people the way they are.
I would be totally ruthless.
You would take...
Well, I wonder who that could be.
Julia?
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be at all surprised.
Hi, Julia. How's things? Really? All over? Well, that's what I assumed. Yes, you were perfectly right, my pet. Absolutely right. I'm sure of it. Well, it is late, my love. It's very late. No, I mean, if you hurry. I mean, if you really hurry. Oh, there is just one thing, one little point. Well, it's a bit delicate. You know my roommate? You know Bob? Well, he wants me to say... He felt... Well, no, he's really very shy, and he wanted you to know he thinks you're all right. That's about all, really. No, he's not in the room. Well, I've shared digs with him for years. Well, I thought any time you wanted to pop up and drag Bob away from his maze. Yeah. All right, you shouldn't be long then. Goodbye, Julia. Goodbye, my love. Hey, Julia. She's not going to go back to her husband.
Really?
No, she said she didn't think she would.
Well, I've no doubt that she has considered his offer very carefully.
Oh, sure she has. I say, you don't mind what I said?
Well, actually, I do. Yes, I do mind.
Why do you mind?
Well, you're back on your old osteopathic kick, Jack. You're manipulating. And there are other reasons why I mind.
Such as?
Well, the embarrassment. The unnecessary embarrassment your antics will cause both Julia and me. I shall have to tell Julia that old Jake was a bit drunk. I shall probably have to resurrect old Gloria to extricate myself and so on. And there is yet another, even more crucial reason why I mind.
And what is that?
Well, what is that? I think it's more akin to humiliation than anything else. I'm humiliated that, knowing me as well as you do, you still consider me a case that's liable to respond to such superficial therapy.
Oh, now, that's not what...
Well, a case I may very well be. But it is undeniably humiliating that you have failed to perceive that the malady, if there is one, must be fairly deep-seated by now. If, therefore, I choose to shun the path of riot and indulgence, it is not because, and I would have thought you would have understood that it is not, because of any simple block that can be shattered by a couple of sessions with a drunken old whore.
Good. Well, that's very good. And the maze. I bet the maze will be great. I bet that will be great maze. I'm going to plant it for you, Bob, and I'm going to take photographs of it for you. And one day when Africa and India and South America are all getting fat on it, why, I'll cheer for you and I'll boast that I knew you when. It's a big deal for you, Bob, because you can twist a few genes and bingo, a savior. Still, you have to come out of the lab sometimes. Julia, I was too ambitious for you. A docile ghost like Gloria is about your speed. And then Julia may not be fastidious, bless her, but she does have a weakness for flesh and blood.
Meaning?
Meaning she might not be able to stomach you.
I understood that Julia had a fairly strong stomach.
That's right. She's just an old whore.
Well, isn't she? Oh, you're a fund. You're a brimming cauldron of warm humanity, Jake. But must all distinctions be dissolved in it? And I'm not now asking for precise scientific ones. But do we really, to satisfy our obsession for boozy comradeship, do we really have to call Chalk Caviar and Julia an angel?
No. No, it's mad.
Well, it is mad!
No, I mean, you're right. Distinctions have to be made. I make them myself sometimes, but it's mad.
Well, what is mad?
You see, I do understand you. Julia and the kids, She behaved terribly to the kids, whom incidentally she adored, because she's weak. Weak.
Human. Weak.
The trouble is that for you, Julia is defined by her weaknesses, classified once and for all like a bloody plant. I call that mad. The lady herself. You're saved. Come on up, the door's open.
This way, you want a taxi?
What? A taxi? Good God, is it time? Well, I'll be down in a few minutes.
All right, I'll wait for you.
Fine. It's the taxi. You can keep her at bay. She should be pretty well worked up by now, you know. You think you can handle her?
Should be a pretty good match for Julia. After all, I lead a healthier life.
Where is my little case? Ah, here is my little case. I think I've got about everything. That lot is to be collected.
So you're off to Hong Kong?
Possibly. To Hong Kong.
Is there any of that champagne left? Hong Kong?
Cheers. Give the green woman my love, if you can bear to. I'll let you have my address and you can ship me the instructions about the maze.
Well, they shouldn't be very complex.
I'll apply myself. Well, that's about it then. See you, Bradshaw.
See you, Carruthers.